And after I looked at him for a while, I found it really easy to imagine he was a nice guy. I didn't know anything about him. From a short story on Lookism by Ted Chiang. Hi. So that's a small little passage from a short story by Ted Chiang in the collection Stories of Your Life. And the title of the short story is Liking What You See, a documentary. And it's written in the form of a documentary. And the premise is that there's a new neurological technology that can turn off the brain's ability to see that somebody's attractive. That you not only see their facial features, but you can actually see that they're attractive based on the assumption that there's a universal criteria for attractiveness, such as symmetry of the face, for example. And this technology can turn it all off, which means it can reduce the likelihood of conventional beauty privilege based purely on looks. Now, you can still be sexually attracted to somebody based on other factors in this short story, such as pheromones and personality and character and things like that, just not on looks. And it's an interesting premise that really reveals to me a lot of things, including the power of story to explore these new possibilities and the very structure of story itself as defined by Lisa Krohn in her book Story Genius. And I've created a diagram based on that model. I've created my own mental model based on her model. And it's that story is the combination of broken loops and closed loops. And a broken loop is high stress and high cortisol created by a sense of incompleteness based on what you see in the diagram here, the relationship between an escalating external problem, in this case, that conflict between those who want this technology nationwide, society-wide, and those who don't want this technology. And then the internal struggle that each person in each camp has. Those who are the children who grew up with this technology, for example, who have a curiosity about, a desire about what it's like to know what's attractive based on looks, and the fear that maybe they might not be as they might not be so attractive based on looks. And so that's one of the internal struggles. There's many in this story, which is what makes the story so interesting in my view. So I'm breaking it down. So I'm revealing the story, what I like about this story on two different levels, right? What it reveals about the structure of story itself, the meta level, but also what it reveals about our own biases, right? So on the meta level, so there's this relationship between the urgent escalating external problem, the pressure, and then the internal struggle, which includes, again, two tug of wars between internal desire and the fear of misbelief, which creates too much pressure without support. If that was all it was, then it would be pure oppression and not a story. It would be just a broken loop. What makes it a closed loop is the broken loop plus support and mentorship, which leads to a spark of realization, which helps you overcome your misbelief and then achieve your desire. And in this case, there's also a deeper desire among those who support this technology, which is to have a more social equality, right? So this goes in some ways even deeper than racism and sexism, which is what I love about this story as well. And I'm still reading the story, but I wanted to share with you a cool passage which reveals to me a powerful insight, which is why I made this video. And then maybe I might make a second video when I finish reading this story. I'm only halfway so far. So I want to read this passage. By the way, so it's like a set of different, it's written in the form of different interviews or different statements by different characters, almost like when you watch a documentary, right? Each person is talking to the camera. So it's very conducive, by the way, to being turned into a movie, like a documentary style movie, by the way, as an aside. So anyways, here's one of the characters, Adash Singh, a third-year student at Pemberton University. This is what he says, which I love. Everyone knows physical beauty has nothing to do with merit. That's what education's accomplished. But even with the best intentions in the world, people haven't stopped practicing Lookism. We try to be impartial. We try not to let a person's appearance affect us, but we can't suppress our autonomic responses. And anyone who claims they can is engaged in wishful thinking. Ask yourself, don't you react differently when you meet an attractive person and when you meet an unattractive one? Every study on this issue turns up the same results. Looks help people get ahead. We can't help but think of good-looking people as more competent, more honest, more deserving than others. None of it's true, but their looks still give us that impression. Kelly doesn't blind you to anything. Beauty is what blinds you. Kelly lets you see. So that's one scene in the book, in the story. Then it zooms into another scene. A character, Tamara Leons, is at a cafeteria and she's having these internal thoughts and internal realizations. And here's a powerful realization that she had. So I'm going to read the full passage, which I read part of it in the beginning of this video, right? Now I'm going to read the full passage for full context. So I've been looking at good-looking guys around campus. It's fun. Oh, by the way, for context, this character grew up with this technology where her brain's ability to recognize attractiveness had been turned off, but now she turned off this technology so that her ability has been turned on for about a few days now, at least. And so she's just exploring and getting really excited about this, her new ability, right? So I've been looking at good-looking guys around campus. It's fun, weird, but fun. So this is her talking. Like I was in the cafeteria the other day, and I saw this guy a couple of tables away. I didn't know his name, but I kept turning to look at him. I can't describe anything specific about his face, but it just seemed much more noticeable than other people's. It was like his face was a magnet, and my eyes were compass needles being pulled toward it. And after I looked at him for a while, I found it really easy to imagine that he was a nice guy. I didn't know anything about him. I couldn't even hear what he was talking about, but I wanted to get to know him. It was kind of odd, but definitely not in a bad way. Anyway, so I just wanted to read that passage in the book. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's a fascinating story, and I highly recommend you read that story as well as the other stories in Ted Chiang's book, Stories of Your Life, by Ted Chiang, Chiang. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.